So let's go to Backlash, May the 10th, St. Louis, Missouri, sold out. I think they said 17,000 something people. And of course, it's Randy Orton's hometown, so he's the main event, the feature match that night. But they opened up with the U.S. title match for the Fatal 4-Way: L.A. Knight, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, Jacob Fatu. And we love Fatu, and we love Drew McIntyre. We're very, very fond of L.A. Knight, and we'd still like Priest to grow on us. I wrote at the top of this, it's a 4-way match, so the match won't be any good. But all 4 guys are over, and their work is good. And the people are going to be, especially because Fatu's explosive. Drew has the fucking heat. They were loving L.A. Knight again. And they did give L.A. Knight a win, believe it or not, on SmackDown on Friday night, which the people loved. So what they giveth on Friday, they taketh away on fucking Saturday. But nevertheless, it was guys doing good looking wrestling stuff to each other, and then they take turns. One guy gets to beat everybody up for a minute. Within 5 minutes, the crowd, we talked about Sabu and the legacy. The crowd was chanting, "We want tables," 5 minutes into the match, while nothing regarding a table was going on. Everybody was going about their business normally in the match, and that crowd just started, "We want tables." I don't want any more tables. I love, again, Fatu. The people are really getting into him, and they're chanting for him. When he and Drew faced off, they did a big yay boo spot. The people are on Fatu's side. But while they did that, the other 2 had to disappear and hide for minutes. You didn't see them. And then finally, the spot comes and suddenly they reappear just fresh as a daisy. But again, I think Fatu probably got the people up more than anybody else in this match with, the stuff that he does and when he opens up. But finally, boom, boom, boom. Drew had covered L.A. Knight after the Claymore, and when he covered him, Priest pulled the referee out, and then Drew and Priest went to the floor and over the rail, and they're fighting in the back of the arena. And then in the ring, Fatu missed a moonsault on L.A. Knight, and L.A. Knight hit 2 of those elbows off the top rope and got a 2 count, and people were about to buy that there. And then you see Drew and Priest in the back of the arena standing on an equipment box, and Priest choke slams Drew, and of course he goes with it the way he does it. They go off the box through a table that was set up next to the box, and it looked to me like Drew went past it and fucking landed a lot on the floor, but that took them out. But
no, he definitely did. It's not just you that saw that head first.
They have to get. You would never even think in the course of figure to finish to a wrestling match. Okay, you guys go fight out into the back of the arena, get up on something about 10 or 12 feet in the air and take a double bump off through a table to the floor. And then we'll do the finish in the ring. You guys are fine. What the And so anyway, back in the ring, L.A. Knight and Fatu were fighting and went over the desk, and L.A. Knight was going to go for the elbow, but Solo pulled Jacob off the desk, and L.A. Knight went to grab Solo, and that's where Jeff Cobb came in. Brian, they couldn't change that name. They wanted to change everybody's name in the history of wrestling. But a guy comes in to join the Samoans. We got Solo Sikoa. We got Jacob Fatu. We got Tama Tonga. We got Jeff Cobb. He sounds like Boomhauer's fucking neighbor on King of the Hill.
Maybe they're going to play into his actual background.
Does anybody know what his actual background is?
That's what we're going to find out. And now, because they use his real name, you'll be able to do a Google search.
What is his actual background?
See, it's a mystery to me, too.
Well,
he's so intriguing, this guy. Sounds like a star.
Nobody's ever heard of him on this level. So you got a chance to, we could have a cool Samoan name for this guy, Jeff Cobb. Fucking hell.
Well, maybe they'll give him a Samoan name. They just had him come out. The announcers didn't play stupid.
Then why did the announcers say, oh my God, that's the hottest free agent in the world, Jeff Cobb? That sounds like that's the most flamboyant entertainer on Broadway, Joe Smith.
Well, he's getting brought into the bloodline. I guess the bloodline's a thing again. And he'll be given an official name. But what did you think of Jeff Cobb's debut? What did you think of...
I think, well, he beat up L.A. Knight, and he looked very good doing that.
In one night, they used him better than Tony did all those times they brought him in, and he would do a job to someone or just appear randomly on AEW TV. One night.
Well, yes, but and Fatu looked surprised to see him and was not happy. And Fatu finally hit the moonsault 1, 2, 3 after Jeff Cobb had done damage.
That might be something. I mean, it will be something, but Jeff Cobb versus Jacob Fatu. I'm intrigued by that.
But now the problem is Jeff Cobb is a little vertically challenged also. So they start getting shorter because Solo's not a giant and Jacob Fatu is not as big as he presents on television.
So they all work well together.
But then you get Jeff Cobb. They start to get smaller. Pretty soon we're going to have to find fucking Coco Samoa again. Remember the original Sabu?
That's
he
right.
was only like 5'4", but he had Jimmy Snuka's body underneath it. Anyhow, that was the 4-way match, Brian. What did you think?
It was okay. I'm not a big fan of these multi-man matches, as I've said dozens of times here on the show.
Mm-hmm.
LA Knight's still super over, and they still want to do more with the Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest stuff. The spot where McIntyre hit the floor, Triple H was asked about it at the post-show scrum because you can't ignore it. It looked bad, and we've seen a few things recently. I saw a clip from TNA that someone sent me of a guy on top of a cage doing a super spinning whatever, landing face first because no one caught him.
Oh, good Lord.
On here, there was no one to catch you. There were crash pads, and they overshot it. But, I'm not crazy about that. Intrigued about the bloodline, seeing where they go here, knowing that we say this Hikuleo is somewhere developmental, and now they got Jeff Cobb, so let's see where they go.
Hikuleo. All righty. So next up for the women's championship of some description, one of those women's titles, it was Becky Lynch and Lyric Valedictorian. And I'm sorry, but she ain't gonna get over. The name sucks. The Birds of Prey outfit looks ridiculous. She's tiny. Her facials are bland. Do you see her? She looks like underlying all of her expression, she's nervous and distracted. I don't know how to explain it other than that. But between that and the outfit, the name, this ain't working. I'm sure Becky and she are friends. That's why Becky's doing this. But it just, I don't think, are you seeing the fans care about Lyric?
No, and when she came out with the wings again, I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe that was a one-time WrestleMania thing. I didn't realize it was going to be an every-time thing. And she starts flapping them. And my daughter, who's 7, was here. You would think maybe that's the audience. For a young woman who's an athlete.
Flapping her wings?
Who flaps her wings. She said, why is she flapping wings?
Flapping her wings.
I said, I don't know. I really don't know. She seems like she's competent in the ring, and Becky Lynch came back to work with her. But I have not seen anything that says she's going to break out. I think
Well,
she's
see,
just
that's
fine, but I don't see
she's
anything.
competent. She's competent in the ring, but she's just doing the stuff. There's no, they ain't no oomph there. And did you see Becky when she was getting the heat on her? Grabbed it. They were out on the floor, and she was taunting her. Becky was in front of what I thought at first from the camera angle was Lyric's sister, and then they said it was her boyfriend. And then the angle switched around, and my God, I'm thinking he better hope she gets fired the next 3 weeks, because with her in the WWE locker room and him looking like Tiny Tim's daughter, that relationship is doomed.
I think they said fiance. It's going to be a reverse Sammy Guevara. That's what it's going to be. Oh, look.
The only way that I knew that when they said, and he certainly, because it looked like her goddamn ugly sister. The fuck? Anyhow.
I'm sure he has nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about. After about 20 minutes of this, Becky tried to schoolgirl her, and Lyric reversed it and held her with one arm in some kind of something, 1, 2, 3. And then Becky got back on her and got the arm bar, and the officials had to pry her off. The end. I'm sorry to shortchange this classic confrontation, Brian, but that's all I got on that.
There's only so much to say. There's only so much to say. The match was just fine. Again, Becky Lynch came back. She wants to work with her. I just don't think anyone... I just think I'm not fully invested in Lyric Valid, whatever her name is. The name sucks. You were right. The name sucks. Having a bad name, you could push someone to the moon. The name sucks. And to
the moon, Lyric.
After the last time she came out flapping her wings, no one said, maybe drop that. Or is someone fucking with her? Is she friends with Terry Taylor? Is it like, oh no, if she really showed some personality, she would really, take flight. What is, why the wings and why flapping them? It's so ridiculous. It was fine. I don't really care about this feud in the women's division right now, despite it being one of the main things they're pushing, just because it seems like she's not in above her head, but just, it doesn't feel like now's the time, I guess.
Yeah, not ready for prime time. But we are ready for the Intercontinental title contest between Dominic Mysterio and Penta. And now they're starting to cheer for Dominic. Even though they still boo him when they're supposed to boo him because it's cool to boo him, but they like Dom now. They like everybody. These people are a kind and friendly bunch. And they did dueling chants for these guys. And, again, both guys worked hard. They laid their shit in. There was lots of lucha, but it wasn't the really insulting, overly choreographed type where they get lost and don't know what the fuck's going on. They, they kept it to a minimum in that respect. And finally, Penta does the Mexican destroyer on the apron of the ring. There ain't a lot of margin for error there either. And I don't know why everybody feels like it's necessary to do this shit on the apron. If the apron moves are the only thing that brought the people into the building, you've made a mistake in your promotion. But Carlito came out and drew the referee's attention, and Finn and JD got on Penta, but Finn waited. He's, wait, let me go get a chair. And he kind of dicked around till the referee caught him. And as the referee's trying to kick them out, Penta, it was a cool little spot. The referee's bending over through the ropes, and Penta runs from behind him and flips over the top of the referee and dives on the heels on the floor. And then as the referee is seeing that they scurry off, Penta goes the top rope, but Gable comes out with the El Gulf of Mexico or whatever his fucking name is, the mask on, and gives Penta the loaded headbutt with his mask, and then Dominic gave him the splash off the top, 1, 2, 3. So, nice little match with about 16 people interfering, and the referee can't find his ass with both hands. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, just fine. I don't even know what to say. It was just, I'm not a big fan of the El Grande Americano stuff. Like, every match has something I'm not really crazy about. I like Dominic. Dominic's really getting height on that frog splash now. It actually looks good. But no Liv Morgan either. Apparently she's making a movie, so there was no Liv Morgan.
Oh, really? I'd like to get a copy of that. Is it a candid photography?
It will not be. It will be a regular movie from a studio or someone who wants to be one.
Well, we'll look forward to that. All righty. Moving along to one of the feature events of the evening. And you know why I like this pay-per-view also, Brian, is because it was less than 3 hours and only had 5 matches. Because if given a choice of 5.5 hours and 13 matches or 3 hours and 5 matches, I'll take the short one. But it was time for Gunther to tell that Pat McAfee a thing or two about wrestling and teach him a lesson and blah, blah, blah. And they gave the statistic. This was McAfee's 8th match ever. Do you remember 8? I don't remember 8. We were talking the other day. Was it 3 or 4?
He had the one at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
Right. It was him. Was it him against Vince? What was the match at WrestleMania?
He was involved in the thing somehow there.
Was the actual match him against Vince?
No, that was...
It was the aftermath of him against someone else, so there were 2 matches, technically.
But that's when Austin came out, too.
Austin Theory?
No.
Steve Austin,
wasn't it?
Well, that's one match, at least. There was the Adam Cole match.
Nevertheless, he's had 8 matches. Or this was his 8th match. He's had that now. That's what I was saying.
I will not argue.
But I don't remember that many.
I accept your word.
And they did this right for the most part, almost all the way through. Gunther toyed with him. And he got the fans behind McAfee because he's embarrassing McAfee and he's toying with him and he's throwing him around or showing him what he can do. And when McAfee would try to fight, Gunther would level him. And again, Gunther was taking his time. He wasn't approaching it like he was desperate to beat this guy before something bad happened. And he was laying the kicks and chops in and chopping the shit out of McAfee. And whenever, Pat would try to hulk up, Gunther would put him back down and he'd play with him a little bit more. He started inviting Cole in the ring. Why don't you get in here? And laughing at the fans. And then they had to give McAfee, as we mentioned when we talked about it beforehand, they had to give him some hope spot, not just beat the shit out of him and emasculate him. And at one point, McAfee escaped a German and kicked Gunther a few times. And then Gunther got up and dared him to chop him. Go ahead then, Ken. That's the way you're supposed to do it, like you insignificant peon. And they traded a little bit, and Gunther staggered but didn't bump. He never, through almost the entirety of the match till the end, never took an actual bump for McAfee. McAfee never knocked him down till the end. And Gunther powerbombed him and put the crab on him. And that's when Michael Cole got up from ringside and was trying to cheer him on. And McAfee tries to get the ropes, but Gunther pulls him away. And then he sees Cole and he goes over and he grabs Michael Cole and pulls him into the ring. And goes to powerbomb Michael Cole. And McAfee from the side saves Michael Cole. And then Gunther boots McAfee down. And McAfee got a little roll up there. And I wrote right at that point, because I'm taking notes, too long now. That's where McAfee should have saved Cole, and Gunther should have booted him down and fucking pinned him, and then tried to go back to Cole for a second and let McAfee come back from behind and distract him, and then a bunch of people come out or whatever the fuck. But they went too long because they were giving McAfee, it was a little too much, even if the crowd liked it. Gunther went for a suplex, but Michael Cole did the fucking leg pull spot where McAfee came down on top, and Michael Cole is holding the leg down like a heel manager. We got a 2 count. And then McAfee got a sleeper. And Gunther escaped it and clotheslined him and sleepered him. And McAfee fought up, which he shouldn't have at that point, but backed down, and McAfee went out, and the referee rang the bell. I think it should have been 12 minutes instead of 15. Right as after McAfee saved Cole, they were burning daylight. I think he should have put him out of his misery right there. But I'm willing to be argued with.
I think it should have been 8 instead of 12, but then again, they only had 5 matches there to fill up this pay-per-view. Michael Cole was unbearable during this match on commentary, and then when he left, he did a good thing. Made me realize, you know what? I'd be okay with Wade Barrett as a Lord Layton kind of solo announcer on these shows. I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Well, Michael Cole did apologize at the open of the match, saying I can't be impartial or good, in any way.
A micro example, but the way we were saying how The Rock wasn't needed for the Cena turn on Cody and it only took away from everything, I don't think Michael Cole was needed for there to be an issue between Pat McAfee and Gunther. And I didn't like that part of the match, especially when Michael Cole's in the fucking ring. Like, yeah. I didn't like that at all. It could have just been what it was, a couple minutes shorter, without the commentator being the focus of the thing.
Well, yeah, and I don't even mind Gunther pulling Cole in and going to powerbomb him, and Pat saving him from the blind side. That's fine, but when you got Cole doing the leg pull and the old manager spots, it's too much. It's odd. It's out of place. But nevertheless, Gunther reigned supreme and tipped his hat, gave a tip of the cap, if you will, to Pat McAfee on the way out.
See, I didn't like that either. I think that's unnecessary. He's a heel. Shouldn't be doing that.
Yes. Well, and also it's unnecessary that the announcer shouldn't really impress anybody with their athletic prowess, even though he has played football, I know. But nevertheless, it was time, Brian, for the main event of the evening for the not even the world heavyweight, the WWE title, which is bigger than the world title. Randy Orton in his own hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, challenging for the title against 17-time champion John Cena, who we can't see anymore after another, 25 dates now, or is it 24? And we knew going into this, just because everybody's smart in the whole world, that Randy wasn't going to win it this quick because they've got other fish to fry while this is going on. So we knew Orton, there was going to be no title change, and Orton was not going to win. But at least it's a pay-per-view worthy main event against two of the biggest names of the past 25 years. And they it is somewhat of a box office attraction, so I can see why they did it. And I wish it was like the old days where you thought that somebody might win at any point, but since we are all smart, we knew that wasn't going to happen. But there was a few things I'm wondering. And one of them is, God damn it, I'm thinking John Cena could have gotten a tan for this match, but it gets him more heat as a heel being that pale, doesn't it?
Well, let me stop you there. And obviously you're not knowledgeable about this, and I just learned about it yesterday. There was an article in maybe People or something. John Cena battled skin cancer.
Oh, geez.
Which is why he's not tanning anymore.
Well, what about the spray-on shit? Let poison your kidneys or something?
Oh, I don't know.
Because, I mean, I'm not like the AEW spray guy where you look, phony, or like Godfrey Cambridge, but I'm talking like a professional job where he might have just a little color to him.
Have you seen what
He's
Heyman looks like?
translucent.
Have you seen what Heyman looks like? I don't know if there is a professional out there who could do that job right.
But now look what the canvas is to work with.
Even if Heyman was a slim, slight, good-looking man, it wouldn't matter. It's the paint job I'm talking about.
Well, no, see, they didn't bring enough to cover his whole gigantic bucket-sized head, so they had to dilute some of it with iodine.
I didn't know where you were going to go, and now I know where you're going.
Yeah.
With iodine, okay.
Anyway, so the WWE history has John Cena at 17 titles, Flair at 16, and Orton and Triple H tied at 14. And that's where we stand on that scoreboard. And I've got to admit, this was bittersweet for me because they were having a wrestling match. I mean, one of the first spots they did was that Cena, the heel, poked Orton in the eye. And then they did a spot which paid off with Orton poking Cena in the eye, which got a huge pop. Rip Rogers would be proud. That's wrestling. And we're talking about guys that just have nearly paralyzed themselves, and these guys are getting a big pop in the main event of a fucking sold out building by poking each other in the eyes. But that's wrestling. And they did headlocks and drop downs and leapfrogs and shoulder tackles. And I said, it's great to see that there's a wrestling match happening again after all the stuff we have to watch, but it's a shame that the only guys that still have wrestling matches are between 45 and 50 years old minimum. And I'm thinking, what's going to happen when these guys are gone and we can't see John already, and nobody will be able to have a goddamn professional wrestling match because they're too worried about being in the next year's Olympics on the gymnastics team. Cena took a walk and Orton chased him and brought him back, and the fans got up for that. Orton gave Cena the 20 punches in the corner. The fans counted for it. I thought he was going to break out into the full Garvin stomp, which one of the announcers even called, was it Wade Barrett? But he didn't go all the way around him. But the fans were batshit with Orton doing very little because they built it properly. And it's driving me crazy that Cena won't stop talking because he is no ventriloquist. He ain't even fucking Paul Winchell. You can see Paul Winchell's lips flapping a mile away. And I think it's also kind of sad that Cena was trying, but Orton's work is way ahead still. It's faster, it's sharper, it's crisper. And, John was trying to keep up with him in that respect. But again, the draping DDT, when he hit that, the fans went crazy for Randy. And then they started doing the big yay boo exchange where they got the let's go Cena and Cena sucks chant out of the people. And then Orton hit the RKO out of nowhere. Both of them were down. They just started building these things into the 2 counts, or either the attitude adjustment or the RKO. And then finally, Orton went for an RKO and Cena shoved him into the referee. Cena hit the attitude adjustment, but there was no referee. So Cena went and got the belt. And again, this is where the WWF takes over in them. Instead of the referee's down, I have a very limited amount of time to cheat. I need to rush and get away with this. Then time just stops. I already know the referee's going to lay down until I instruct him otherwise. I'm going to going to get the belt. It's the milk hour. And he gets the belt and comes in, but Orton RKOs him out of nowhere. And then suddenly the referee's up and he gets a 2 count. Oh, shit. And then Orton clears off the desk at ringside, but Cena knocks him into the referee again and posts Orton, and Orton slips the AA again and AA's Cena on the desk. And it kind of, boom. And then Orton pulls a table out and sets it up. And I wrote, even them. So disappointing. And he AA'd John through the table at ringside, and the referee had been down for minutes at this point. But the fans are chanting, "This is awesome." So it's all showbiz these days. And Randy hit the RKO and covered him, and a second referee came in and got a 2 count. And then Cena went to hit Orton with the belt, but Orton ducked and Cena nailed the referee, the second referee. And then Orton hit the RKO and covered him. Why? He just saw the referee go down. So the fans can count to 10. And then all the agents and Nick Aldis come into the ring and check on the referee. We're 25 minutes into this fucking thing, right? And Orton gets up and he's pissed off that they're checking on the referee. So to show his pissed offness, and also because he's about to get fucked, so he's got to get something out of this, he RKO'd Aldis and all the agents in a row, like 5 or 6 of them. Boom, boom, boom. And the people love that. And then Orton goes back to Cena and he goes to punt him. But here comes R-Truth, who, as we know, has long been a John Cena supporter. And he's like, "Oh, no, don't kick poor old John Cena." And Orton RKO's R-Truth, who rolls out, and then Cena hits Orton in the nuts and then hits him with the belt and then covered him. And the first referee, who had been down for somewhere around a day and a half at that point, rolled in and counted 1, 2, 3. I thought they had a good match. I thought that was overcomplicated at the end, and that was just stupid with R-Truth, but they apparently want to get some kind of goddamn TV match out of this. Your thoughts, Brian? I like both these guys, and I think Orton's work is still incredible. John slowed down a bit, but the finish was just cluttered up real bad to me. They were trying to give everybody a fucking out.
The finish was cluttered up, and it went a while. That all took a long time to go, and you kind of said it without saying it. You say the WWE in them, or whatever you said, the WWE comes out. This felt like Vince shit from 10 years ago. That felt out of place.
Yeah.
Just too much. And, I know Cena's not 35 years old and he's not used to wrestling a regular schedule or even a semi-regular schedule for a while. You're not expecting him to go out there and have incredible, highly physical matches. We're probably going to get a lot of this kind of stuff around his matches to make them work, but I don't know. It was kind of a deflating ending to the show, just the way the ending went down, how long it took, and you knew Randy wasn't going to win, but I don't know.
There's no sense of urgency anymore when anybody's trying to cheat and get away with something. And that makes the fans not, when you've got time in your mind, when they're constantly milking, oh, the guy's got the belt and he's drawn back and he's waiting for the guy to stand up for some reason. I want to beat this guy, so he's down now, but I'll wait till he stands up and knocks him down again. But everything takes so long that, yes, they're teaching that, and there is some element of truth to it. You've got to milk it. You can't just run off and leave people, or not make something picturesque to where that they see it and understand what happened in a big building. They may have missed it, but you've also got to keep moving from one thing to another, because if people have too long to think about what they're looking at, a lot of them are going to come up with the right idea. Sometimes it's either he's going to hit him or he's going to duck, one of those two things. The more time they have to think about it and come up with their own conclusion, the less they pop when they turn out to be wrong or right, because they knew it was going to happen. Some of the biggest pops in finishes like that come when shit's happening, bing, 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 and it's shit you don't expect. Oh, shit, whoo. That's why I used to teach in OVW especially, that each finish when we're calling something for everyone to do, because however many people are involved in the match, including referees, managers, and anybody running in, you have to account for them when you give the finish. When you lay it out beforehand, everybody has to have something to do and a place to be to make it all come together. But the important thing is everybody doesn't do their shit all at the same time. I used to tell them, okay, spotlight is on you two people to do this. Boom. But once that happens, that's when you two take over, because boom, you're going to do that. And that's when the referee and the manager are going to do this. And the spotlight goes boom, 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 because you don't want it all to happen at the same time. People are miss it, but you don't want it to take for fucking ever like this is, where everybody's already calling it ahead of time. There needs to be a happy medium. Anyway.
Well, that was the main event. Randy Orton versus John Cena. And just recently, WWE uploaded to the Vault channel them against each other in OVW. We may have to do a watch along of that. Everyone's begging for one. One that you actually critiqued in the past. Just not on camera or on audio.
Yes.
But Jim, John Cena, Randy Orton, one thing that they learned how to do in OVW, and it has helped them well throughout their career, is learn to sell. But not everyone knows how to sell, and in fact, mom and pop businessmen all throughout the United States and beyond. But let's focus on
mom and pop businessman?
That's right. It's a new era, and Main Street is a whole new thing. But the point is, everyone needs an online presence for their store. Everyone needs to sell. And here's the man to sell you on everything I just set him up for, Mr. Jim Cornette.
I don't know what you're talking about now, Brian, but I'll tell you what we were talking about earlier was people that want to be things that they're not, or things that they're not capable of being. Like Jelly Nutella wants to be a pro wrestler. Well, sometimes when you're a kid, you want to be an astronaut, or you want to be a princess, or you want to be the president of the United States. I guess the bar is fairly low there these days. But when you grow up, Brian, as they used to say, you put away the childish things and you focus more on realistic goals. Instead of being a princess or a double knot spy, instead of going into outer space or owning your own castle, you want to own your own business. You want to run your own little empire and make money, make profit, be a capitalist so that you can provide for your family and potentially pay child support later on when the wife leaves you and takes the little cretins.
Well, let's just
but you still on the hook for it.
Let's focus on the good times for this.
Well, for the good times. But when you've got your own business, it's a dream that lots of people share. But you know what you're going to need, Brian? You're going to need a website. You're going to need a payment system. You're going to need a logo. You're going to need a way to advertise to new customers. It can be overwhelming. It can be confusing. But thankfully, you have friends. You have the people at Shopify. At Shopify, they're going to sit down on your side and they're going to give you that right in the rib. Say, hey, we can make you some money, kid. You just listen to us. And you're going to be farting through silk. And what if you can't design a website? Shopify's got you from the get-go. Why, they will make you a website that's so delicious you will slap your mother. And what if you need a hand?
Metaphorically speaking.
Well, yes. And what if you can slap her forehand or backhand, whatever kind of. What if you need a hand with everyday tasks? Everyday tasks speaking English. And enhancing product images and writing product descriptions. Hey, that thing sucks. Stuff like that. Or generating discount codes. What about if people haven't heard about your brand, Brian? You might say, how do I get the word out there? Well, Shopify helps with easy to run email and social media campaigns. You just give them your entire address book and they will go through it. And they will call
no.
everybody you know on the phone, and they will say, hey,
no,
Joe over here is in business, and if you know what's good for you, you're going to support him. Elsewise, we're going to call you every goddamn day.
Shopify will not be making any phone calls. You won't be getting any phone bills for calls made on your behalf. Shopify will be there so that you can put your store online and sell your products without any problems or any people causing problems every time they speak about this wonderful product.
Yes, no, there won't be any phone bills. They don't charge for long distance anymore, Brian, but there's the Shopify phone bank team will be harassing your customers daily until they spend money.
No, they won't. No, there will be no harassment on behalf of the fine people at Shopify or on the behalf of mom and pop businessmen all across America.
Yeah, and speaking of mom and pop businessman, Shopify has the birth records, and they know who everybody's mother is and everybody's father is.
No, they do not. Where did the hell did you pull that out of? No, they don't.
Well, but because that's the way that they can go to mom and pop with all these products that you make, that you sell, that they want to help you sell, and they can go to mom and pop and they say, we know where your kids are. So you just buy this stuff, and then...
Mom and pop have nothing to worry about. The kids are safe, and so
as a matter of fact, the FBI got a phone call on tape. The only sound they could determine was a screaming child, but never
the truth. None of that was true, ladies and gentlemen. What we want to tell you about is the truth, which is that Shopify is there for you. You have your products. You need to sell them. You need them in the biggest online resource and storefront, and here's Jim Cornette.
Yes, and you can turn your dreams into reality and give yourself the best shot at success with Shopify by signing up for your $1 a month trial period and start selling today at shopify.com/JCE. Shopify.com/JCE, a $1 a month trial period, where you will be put on trial and you will be cross-examined. And if they determine
that's not how
that
it
you
works.
are a quality person that can join their team, then they will make you money. But just watch it. Don't admit to certain things. And the age of consent is 17.
This has nothing to do with Shopify. But once again, Shopify is there for you. Shopify.
$1 a month. How much cheaper can it be?
Wow, it's like Shopify magic. But one more time, Jim, how can the listeners... use what we use, because they power our store, ArcadiaVanguard.com, and the fine Drive-Thru t-shirts.
Yes, they will design your website. They'll market your products. They'll write descriptions. They'll take your money, and they'll take all of the money.
No, they don't.
And then they'll give it to people.
They will take their share when the time is right.
They'll take your money, $1 a month, and then they'll take the money from the other people they're selling stuff to, and then some of it will come back to you. They will do this all for $1 a month.
Once again, we use them for us.
How do you know what the exact amount is? If they round off to the closest dollar, I don't think anybody's going to be upset.
Round off. If this keeps going, I'm going to drink some Roundup. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to let you know the store is there for you.
Yes. $1 a month trial period. They'll show you all this great stuff. They'll show you all their shit for only $1. That's why they wear raincoats. Shopify.com/JCE.
Well, there it is, that Shopify jingle that you've all come to know and love here on the show. Jim, before we finish with Backlash and move on to, again, I didn't watch Raw. I just can't. But Backlash, the show didn't end with the show, or the event didn't end with the end of the pay-per-view portion, which is never ending. It's just the content rolls right into the next thing. There was the post-show, and there was the media scrum, and I guess part of what happened in the main event continued to play out in a very interesting scene in the media scrum. Have you seen this?
Well, yes, I didn't watch the entire scrummy scrum, but I did see the main event portion, I guess, of it. Because Triple H is sitting there, and he's talking, and suddenly John Cena comes out and stage whispers, "I'd like to have a word." So, okay, well, I didn't know this was happening, Triple H says, but let's let the GOAT have his say. And Cena sits down and he starts talking for a minute, and then suddenly you hear, "Oh wait, where's John? Where's John?" And R-Truth comes in, and he's like, John." I can't even remember what he said. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to do this. But he's always been the John Cena fan, and he didn't want to leave it like that. That they had a miscommunication or whatever, and Cena picks him up and gives him the attitude adjustment through the desk that they're sitting at. But it's in a press conference atmosphere, and I guess they didn't tell everybody this was going to happen, and nobody knows whether to cheer or boo or say boo to a goose, as Adrian Street would say. So everybody in the room sits there in complete silence. So the guy goes through the table, and it's like somebody just did it in a library. And Brian, help me describe, how odd is it when somebody
It was awkward. Oh, it was awkward.
Picks somebody up and throws them through a table and nobody makes a sound in the room?
Well, I guess the first question is, do you think that they anticipated everyone being like, oh, do you think they anticipated like everyone jumping out of their seats? What do you think they thought was going to happen?
I don't think they thought about it. I think that, it'll be cool if R-Truth comes out and Cena picks him up and gives him the AA through the desk, and I get they're building up a match again to give John a night off, a personal appearance in tights, but nobody knew what to do. So they just sat there, and people come running in to check on him as Cena walks off, and R-Truth is laying there, and it's just complete dead silence. It was just very odd. It's hard having a backstage fight or a fight with no people there because there's no feedback and no, crowd noise. But in this case, it was the oddest thing I've ever seen because there were people there and there was still no crowd noise. So it was odd, off-putting, possibly.
It would have been nice if like Bill Apter or Keith Elliott Greenberg did a run-in and tried to save R-Truth. Just something to make it a little more believable. Wally Yamaguchi. Who was it? Jimmy Suzuki. Eddie Gilbert made bleed on TV. Just
yes.
Something happened there. What do you think of the idea they're doing this in the last year of Cena with limited dates? In a way, the end of a long-time sub-storyline of some sort? Of this weird friendship / idolization of Cena by R-Truth? What do you think of them doing it? And we'll see where it is. Did they announce where it's going to be? Is it going to be Saturday night's main event?
I would think it's going to be Saturday night's main event, but that's the thing. It's an easy match for John Cena to have. They can advertise him wrestling. There's some type of story behind it. R-Truth is going to take good care of him. So I'm not even opposed to them having that match because they can't all be 25-minute main events, in his last year, but just the AA through the fucking desk in the silent room was just odd. It was very strange.
What do you think they were thinking too? Like all the media people, like, oh, okay, they're doing one of these things here.
Well, but now what kind of media people? Was it all website people like it would be at one of Tony's AEW scrums, or was it legitimate reporters of some description?
It didn't sound like the usual suspects to me. They had a few people ask Triple H some stuff that I saw on the pre-show, but no point did I go, oh, I recognize that name. None of them. I didn't know who they were.
Well, a lot of unrecognizable names were there, and that's why they didn't know how to react.
Well, there it is. That's the end of Saturday.